One of my favorite ways to work with these contrasting types of colors and to make different tones work together is to put a main color with all of the bold, bright color pops. So this is one of my favorite multicolor shawls called the Painting Bricks shawl. And this uses 200 grams of the main color. So with Westwool Bicycle, that's 4 skeins of these 50-gram skeins of yarn. So you could go with a really dark color like the truffle or this dark gray called Canal House. That always gives this beautiful stained glass type of effect. And when you have 4 skeins of that Westwool Bicycle or 200 grams of any solid yarn, it frames the contrast colors and gives space between them. So not all of those loud colors are touching each other, but it organizes the colors in a really beautiful, rhythmic way. And I love this effect because you can really get away with experimenting with these odd types of color combinations that might look really, really crazy if you use them all together next to each other. But when you have that main color separating them, it gives them space to shine. Another really nice example of that main color relationship is the Painting Waves shawl. And look how beautiful all these neutrals are. So I love a good color pop, but if you stick in one color family, it can be really, really harmonious. And that can be a good entryway to working with lots of different colors in the same project. So if you're used to only working with 1, 2, or 3 colors maximum in your knitting, and you're scared to work with 10 colors, then a good way to focus is just stick with one color family, and then you can work with shades from light to dark within that family. And then my trick for mixing that main color with the contrast color is I like to exaggerate that relationship. So I chose the darkest shade of that gray neutral color family. It's this solid black yarn. So I chose the most exaggerated version of that color family as the main color. And then I knew that I would guaranteed get a contrast with all the other color tones. So this is 8 contrast colors, all these mini skeins. So you could use leftovers, mini skeins, and then 200 grams of that main color will give you that beautiful framing effect. I just love the result of this shawl. And it's the same type of color relationship as the Painting Bricks, but instead of all those bold, bright, stained glass color pops, you have this smooth, subtle, calming relationship. So many different types of ways to incorporate this main color, contrast color mix. And I just love how it lends itself to working with mini skeins and leftovers. This was a fun version I did with a blue main color and then variegated yarns. There's semi-solid colors mixed in there. Some of these were leftovers from other shawls and some were mini skeins. And when I'm working with this many types of colors, you can see there's even these loud colors that really shock the fabric. And I don't focus on the colors having to match exactly. I really like it when there's that clash effect, when there's a color that jumps out and doesn't blend with the other contrast colors, but that main color gives you the opportunity to add some calm to the crazy, okay? So when you're starting palettes like this, I recommend organizing your yarns first. So getting a big tub of colors with all your blue yarns, or get all your pink yarns out and organize the yarns by color first, and then you'll find a color family that speaks to you, and then just choose that main color to divide them. This is the Painting Stripes shawl. And the key to working with all these different types of colors is to say yes and don't stress, okay? Don't edit yourself too early. Don't doubt yourself or second guess yourself. For me, knitting and playing with color is all about play and about experimenting. So if you start to edit and cut off your options too early, then you can't really blossom and go as far as you can with your color choices. So just say yes to all your options, allow yourself to be inspired, and put a big pile of colors together. And it doesn't mean you have to use all those colors, okay? So get a big pile of yarns for a new project and have all your options in front of you. But then as you knit, you can make your color choices and build the palette and build the story as you knit and listen to the fabric. Whenever I'm working on these big shawls, I either find that I need more colors, which means I go to the yarn shop and shop for some more colors, or shop my stash. So I find that I either need to get more colors, or I find that as I'm knitting, the color vision starts to become more concrete and more focused, and sometimes I take out colors from my original inspiration pile. So just because you start with a pile of colors doesn't mean that's going to be the final shawl. It's always a journey to listen, and maybe you need to add a little more of a spice, a little brighter color to your palette. But I just love the overall effect you get. It's such a unique color palette, and nobody else's shawl is going to be like yours because you're working with so many tones and listening to those stripes and rhythmic changes. One final key to remember when you're working with this many types of colors is they don't always have to be the same yarn. So by that I mean they don't have to be the same twist. There could be a single ply yarn together with applied sock yarn, or maybe some of your yarns have alpaca in them. So for me, the most important thing is the weight of the yarn is pretty similar. So most of these are fingering weight yarns, which is about 400 yards per 100 grams. So as long as they're mostly the same weight, it's okay if there's a different twist, or if some of the yarns are hand-dyed, some of them aren't hand-dyed, some of them have that speckled style to them, and some of them are very flat and solid. So whenever there's something different in your ingredients, I like to exaggerate that difference by adding other different elements to the design. So by that I mean if there's a speckle, then add a semi-solid. Or if you have an alpaca yarn and then a wool yarn, add a mohair yarn as well. So the more you stretch your varieties of fiber and varieties of the yarn, I just believe that's when the fabric gets more special and more artistic and unique. So have fun with all those leftovers, and don't forget the power of a main color. It can really unite and bring together all those different ingredients to give a cohesive, focused statement.